What is going on YouTube? It's your boys Collins. We're back again with another tutorial, and in this specific tutorial we're going to learn how to create this effect. Yes, let's jump right in. Off the bat, guys, I want to say thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I know it's been a while since I have dropped another tutorial, guys. I'm so busy with so much work and I got so many things going on, personal side, business side, and everything. So it's like I really don't have a lot of time, if that makes sense, to really be dropping tutorials back to back. But trust me, very soon I'm about to have a lot of time in my hands, you know what I'm saying, thanks to God, and I will have the opportunity to be dropping tutorials back to back for you guys. But in this specific tutorial, guys, I'm actually going to show you guys how to create this Superman laser heat vision effect right from home, you know what I'm saying, with Adobe After Effects. Now, I definitely do want to address that, guys. This specific video files and everything is actually coming directly from my course. So if you guys actually buy the VFX course, if you guys go on my website, let me show you real quick. If you guys come to my website and you go ahead and come down here, you should see that we've created and we have dropped our new Superman visual effects course, and I'm going to show you guys how to create advanced Superman visual effects right from home. You're going to have at least 10 full tutorials, 20 practice videos included, 10 how to film videos, 28 free sound effects, 10 free visual effects assets included, and you're going to have you're going to have direct links to paid visual effects asset, because again, guys, this is high quality, and in order for you to get the best results, you need to spend your money. Like in this course, you're going to learn how to create some of these types of videos. For example, see, that's different, you know what I'm saying? I show you guys how to create these really cool, awesome visual effects, and it's all directly from this specific course, you know what I'm saying? I break everything down. There's a reason why I'm saying don't be cheap and be lazy, because this is not a done for you service. I'm teaching you guys raw skill, all right, raw skill that you can use to, you know, create some amazing visual effects. By the way, shout out to my boy Ahmet. He's the one that basically put all of this together, you know what I'm saying? I really want you guys to really follow him. Amazing guy. And if you want to really contact him for any type of Superman cosplay, this is the guy that you need to go ahead and shoot for, because the dude looks just like Superman and he's an amazing guy, and I'm so happy to have worked with him and stuff like that on this specific project. So please, all right, the link is down below. Go ahead, grab yourself a copy of this, and yeah, man, do that. What I want you to do is when you come into Adobe After Effects, right, I want you to come into this specific area and double click this space. When you double click this space, I want you to go ahead and come into the laser eyes tutorial, all right? So what I'm going to do is come into this specific folder. This is your laser eyes tutorial folder, and I want you to go ahead and import the folder itself. So when you import the folder itself, it's also going to import the project file. It's also going to import the video and the sound effects as well too, that I've also included. So I want you to go ahead and disregard this specific layer itself. Disregard this specific composition, all right? It's not necessarily needed. What I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and grab the practice video 4A and go ahead and drag that into this specific thing to create a new composition. All right, so what's going to happen is, let me close this one. What's going to happen is we're going to basically focus on motion tracking our subject's eyes, adding the laser effects, and all those other kind of stuff. What I want you to do is go ahead and grab the time indicator, right, and move this time indicator to the part where our subject begins to, you know, shoot beams from his eye. So the thing that I really want you guys to understand is when you're doing this effect, I highly recommend opening up your eyes more. My subject didn't necessarily open up his eyes, so it's, you know, in a sense, we can still do the effect, but it's not going to look as good as if you're actually opening up your eye, like, you know, you're opening up your eyes like Superman. Let's take a look at what Superman heat vision looks like. You see, if you pay attention, if Superman, his eyes are glowing red, his eyes are really opened. And so my subject over here did not open up his eyes too well. So you see, it's kind of like taken away from the effect itself. So I highly recommend, again, when you're filming yourself doing the Superman heat vision, definitely open up your eyes more. That way we can actually manually do all of the effects. All right, that's how you want to do it. Perfect. Now here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna move this time indicator right over here. All right, so look at this time. This is 3:14. All right, we're gonna move this time indicator right over here, and we're gonna hit Control Shift D. Then we're going to move this time indicator right around here where he completely stops. Right around here. 5. Exactly at the 5-second mark, go ahead and hit Control-Shift-D. So this is going to be the area where the laser beam is going to be, coming out of his eye. We're going to go ahead and click on this layer, and we're going to rename this to Layer of Beam. And then let's go ahead and change the color by clicking this area and changing this to red. Perfect. Now here's what I want you to do. Actually, you know what? Don't change it to red. Change it to let's do green. Yeah. Right click in this area and go ahead and click on New and go ahead and click on Null Object. Once you've clicked on Null Object, what I want you to do is move this time indicator right around here and then go ahead and hit Control-Shift-D, delete this part, and then go ahead and grab the end and trim this all the way so that it's literally sitting right on top of the layer beam layer. Layer beam layer. This is crazy. All right, so once you do that, right, what I want you to do is go ahead and hit Control-S to save your current progress, right? I'm going to save this as Laser Beam YouTube Tutorial. That's what I'm going to save it as. Perfect. Hit Control-S to save your current progress. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go ahead and turn off the null object, right? And I want you to go ahead and right-click the null, rename this to, it should be null 1, right? But I want you to go ahead and name this as null right. It's going to be your null right eye. And you're going to hit Control-D to duplicate it, right-click it, rename this, and remove the right and change this to left eye. Perfect. So we have 2 different null objects. Now here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and click on the layer beam green layer, and we're going to go ahead and come to Tracker, and we're going to click on Track Motion. Now once you click on Track Motion, it should open this up in a different layer. Make sure, if you come back into the composition practice video 4A, make sure that the quality is set to full. All right, the resolution is set to full, not quarter. All right, perfect. Now come back into the layer beam layer. I need to change the name. This is terrible. Anyways, just zoom in, right? Zoom in. And what I want you to do is when you zoom in, if you want to, let's say you want to move, you want to go ahead and hold space on your keyboard to actually move this properly. Because if you have it on the selection tool and you move it, what you're going to do is, this is what's going to happen. You're going to have the opportunity to draw this sort of like rectangle box, and you don't want that. You want to be able to move this whole entire thing. So hold space to move. All right, click and hold space and then go ahead and click and drag to move. Now zoom in, right, and zoom in into this point. Click on this area right here and then just begin to draw, make this outer box layer bigger and the center box even bigger, and then just click in this space and re-drag this somewhere over here on your subject's eye. So I would select the white part because it's the area that's most visible. Make the inner box a bit smaller and the outer box a bit smaller. And what I want you to do is zoom out just a bit and then go ahead and come all the way over here to the right side and click on Analyze Forward. Now again, if you don't see the tracker, just go ahead and click on Window and scroll all the way down until you see Tracker. Perfect. Now go ahead and click on this to Analyze Forward. And you will begin to see that our tracker will perfectly motion track our subject's eyes perfectly well. All right. Excellent. Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to go ahead and click on Edit Target. Click on the layer itself and go ahead and change this to the number 3, null right eye, and then press OK, and then press Apply, and then press OK. Now once you do that, what's going to happen is if you turn on the null right eye, you will see that our null object is perfectly motion and is stationary with our subject's movements, if that makes sense. Awesome. Now we're going to rinse and repeat the same process for the other eye. So go ahead and click on this specific layer, the green layer. Click on Track Motion. Let's go ahead and zoom in and select this area and select the white part. All right. We're repeating the same exact process. All right. Nothing different. And then Analyze Forward. Once your computer is done, click on Edit Target. Click on the Practice 4A and click on the null left eye, number 2, and press OK and press Apply. And then press OK again. And then hit Control S or Command S on your keyboard to save your progress. Now we have created 2 perfectly tracked null objects that tracks our subject's eyes perfectly. All right, let's go ahead and turn this off. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do something. We're going to do something really, really cool. Now that we have done that, right, let's start the animation process. Come all the way over here into your folder, right? I'm going to move the solid into this layer. Again, guys, if you see this, just ignore this. Ignore this whole composition. This is just my previous project, so ignore it. So what's going to happen is we're going to click on the high quality flare image, right? And we're going to go ahead and drag that into our layer. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and offset this a bit right here. And we're going to come all the way over here at the end, and we're going to hit Control-Shift-D to offset it one more time. We're going to do some simple animations to this. So first, click on Toggle Switches and Modes at the bottom until you see Mode. Under Mode, go ahead and click on Mode and change this high quality flare to Screen. That way we can remove that black area. Then what I want you to do is come all the way over here to the Effects and Presets tab and search up this effect called Hue/Saturation and drag that into the flare. Click on Colorize and change the saturation all the way to 100. That way this thing is completely bright red. And then reposition this on our subject's right eye. Reposition this specific layer right on top of the null right eye. And what you can even do is you can even change the null color to yellow and change the high quality flare color to also yellow. That way these two layers match in color. Zoom all the way into your subject's eyes. Hold space, click and hold space and re-drag to reposition. And what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and move this somewhere over here. Hit S on the keyboard while clicking on the high quality. Hit S on the keyboard and then reduce the scale just a tad to something like this. Position it right on our subject's eye. And then go ahead and under Parent and Link, all right, click on this Pick Whip tool and drag it on top, or drag it into the null right eye, so that the moment you move this, it perfectly motion tracks with your subject's movements. Now, do me a favor and click on Toggle Switches and Modes and enable motion blur on the high quality flare. Hit Control S to save. So far, we're looking really good. Perfect. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go ahead and click on the high quality flare and hit Control D to duplicate it. Position this one on top, change the color to red, and offset this right around here to the other eye. And then go ahead and click on the Pick Whip tool and drag it literally on top of the null left eye too. Now we have two perfectly tracked flare effects that's motion tracked perfectly well with our subject's eyes. You see that? So it should look something like this. We're getting somewhere. Hit Control or Command S to save your current progress. I'm telling you guys, this is actually easy. That's why I'm telling you guys to really check out the course, because in the course I teach you so much, right, in a short amount of time. And most of all of these tutorials are literally less than 2 hours. So you can watch a tutorial that's less than 2 hours, learn the skill, practice over and over again, and when you become better, you can actually start teaching other people or charging people in your own neighborhood to do simple effects like this for them and make some money. I'm telling you guys, like, not to brag or anything like that, but at least I charge $750 as a minimum deposit just to work on a 30-second video for any client that I work with. You know what I'm saying? So you can make a lot of money from this. You know what I'm saying? It's a really high valuable skill. So check this out. Right, so if we move this time indicator a few frames forward, you can clearly see that the flare, image is sitting well with our subject's eyes. Now, here's what we're gonna do next. We're gonna come all the way over here into our project settings, right? So, and under the project settings, you should see that I've created a laser eye project file. Now, of course, when you were importing it, it probably said optical flare or optical glow or optical flare is missing. That plugin is missing. Yes, if you have that plugin, right, you won't see that error message at the beginning. So you see this is the optical flare plugin that I got from Video Copilot. It's like $100 and something, but trust me, it is the best plugin that I've ever gotten in my life. It makes my life easier. So you see this flare image that I have right here? Optical flare has it. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to actually download an image. I can use optical flare, but I'm showing you different techniques on how you can create the same effect. So click on the laser eye plugin, right, and click on this drop down menu. And what I want you to do is click on the laser eye comp, double click it, and you should see this composition where we have this bright red beam that is flowing, and some other stuff in here. We have our quick flash, we have our heat distortion, plus some quick chromatic aberration plugin. If you don't see that as well, to the quick chromatic aberration plugin is also, everything is in the link description, the description down below. So if you click the links down there, you should be able to download it. I have added some different kinds of stuff. So if you don't, again, if you have that error message, it's because you need to download those things. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click on the beam itself. We're going to hit Control, right, or Controls or Command C to copy it, and then come over here and hit Command V or Control V to paste. Now once you paste it, you're pasting it right here into our composition. So what I want you to do is, if you see the moment you paste this specific beam solid, we have this sort of like an error message. Well, it's not an error message, it's just that our beam is a little bit, it's not matching our composition. So what you can even do is you can go ahead and hit Control or Command Y on your keyboard to create a new solid and just rename that solid as beam, and then press OK. And then what you can do is click on the previous beam, click on the saber itself and hit Control or Command C to copy. Come over here on this next beam and hit Control V or Command V to paste. That way the same settings that were pasted in this previous beam will appear and will show up in this specific beam. That's what we want. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this beam right here at the bottom, and we're going to hit delete or backspace to delete it. And we're just going to focus on this specific beam. Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to go ahead, and you see the glow itself. I want you to go ahead and we're going to do something to the glow. We're going to go ahead and click on the stopwatch itself, and we're going to go ahead and reduce the glow intensity to like 0. Actually, I take that back. What we're going to do is we're going to click on the glow color, and we're going to change the glow color to like white. All right, change the color to white. That's it. Then what I want you to do is go ahead and hit Control Shift D on this specific layer and crop that part out, and also bring this also here. Now here's what I want you to do. If you press U on your keyboard, you should see thousands and thousands of keyframes. What I want you to do is select all of these keyframes and then move this all the way to the right. Right here. Have it start exactly right here. Perfect. Remember, I've already customized this thing, so you don't have to do all that hard work. I did the hard work for you already. All you have to do is just drag and drop. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to click on the beam itself, and you see where it says start? Click on the start and place the start position right around here on our subject's eye. And then I want you to go ahead and click on the end position and click over here. Remember, we want it to match the direction of where he is looking. So play around with it till you get the best results. If you start to see that this thing is slowing down, just change the quality from full all the way to like third. All right, that way your computer can work with it. Now, once you have added and once you have applied this effect, what I want you to do next is I want you to go ahead and click on the beam itself, right? The beam itself, this layer, and click on the parent link and drag it on top, right, of the null right eye. Change this beam color to yellow and drag it on top of everything. So we're going to have the beam, we're going to have the high quality flare, and we're going to have the null right eye. So click on the beam once more, and if you press play, you'll start to see that the beam perfectly motion tracks well with our subject's eye, and it sticks because we parent it to the null. So no matter how far a subject moves his eye, this thing perfectly tracks well with everything. And that's what we're looking for. Now here's what we're going to do. We're going to zoom in, and we're going to go ahead and come over here, and we're going to change the quality to like full. And remember, reposition it right in his eye. All right, reposition it right in his eye. So now, if I go ahead and I click on, if I change the quality to like quarter, and if I move this time indicator a few frames forward, you will see that it sticks perfectly well with our subject's eyes. And that's what we're looking for. So go ahead and do me a favor and click on the beam itself, press U on the keyboard. And what I want you to do is I want you to click on this specific keyframe and delete it. Select these three keyframes or these other keyframes at the end and drag this right around here. Remember, we want it to stop the moment he stops. So it should be like this. Perfect. Right? Excellent. Hit Control S to save. Now, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to click on the beam and we're going to hit Control D to duplicate it one more time. And we're going to go ahead and drag that on top. Now we're going to change the color to red. And we're going to go ahead and change the parent link from null, the right one, to the left one. What we're going to do is we're going to click on the bottom beam and turn it off. And we're going to focus on just this beam itself. We're going to go ahead and change a few couple of settings. All right. This beam itself, we're going to reposition this beam right here. We're going to zoom in, change the quality to full, and we're going to reposition it right here. But this beam has to be a bit smaller than the other beam. So we're going to go ahead and press U on the keyboard, and we're going to focus on the glow intensity. So you see the glow intensity? We're going to come all the way over here, and we're going to change the glow. We're going to go ahead and turn off the keyframe on glow intensity, and we're going to reduce the glow intensity a bit to like something like 26 is okay. We want that beam to be smaller than this beam. Perfect. You see that? Excellent. Hit Control S to save. Now, once you've done that, what I want you to do next is I want you to go ahead and let's turn on the beam and let's make sure everything else is turned on. So it should look something like this. Now, at this point, you're like, okay, well, the beam is white. Superman's laser eyes is obviously red. So we're going to actually do some changes to that. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and change the quality back to third. And we're going to hit Control S to save our progress. We're going to come all the way over here. And we're going to click on this beam layer. And we're going to go ahead on our keyboard. We're going to hit Control Alt Y or Command Option Y if you're using a Mac. Control Alt Y or Command Option Y to create an adjustment layer. Now, if you can't create an adjustment layer, right click this area, go to New, and go ahead and click on Adjustment Layer. All right, that's another way to do it. Now, when you're done doing that, click on the adjustment layer itself and hit Control Shift D, delete this part, come all the way over here, hit Control Shift D and delete this part. Now, I want you to go ahead and click on this adjustment layer and press Enter on your keyboard and rename this to Glow. Awesome. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to click on this specific glow layer. And what I want you to do is click on the pen tool and then draw a mask. Draw a mask like this around our subject's eye. And click on the selection tool. Press M on the keyboard and set a keyframe on the mask itself. But set a keyframe right here. And then come all the way over here to the very beginning and then make this mask smaller. So close the mask. Now, if you can't see the color, you can go ahead and change the color to a color that's a bit brighter, like yellow, and make the mask smaller. So move the mask all the way over here and make it smaller. All right. And then it should look something like this. Perfect. Now you can go ahead and move this keyframe about 2 frames forward. So it looks something like this. And then at the end, you're going to do this. You're going to go ahead and set a keyframe on the mask itself. And then go ahead and come all the way over here and move this right over here. So it looks like it's following him. You see what we just did? Perfect. Hit Control or Command S to save. Now come over here into the Effects and Presets tab and search up Color Vibrance. Now I told you to download Color Vibrance, right? So go ahead and drag Color Vibrance into the glow layer. Change the color to red. Come over here into the glow layer and press F on the keyboard and press and feather this out 198. Feather it out. All right. Now it's your choice to make this as vibrant as much as possible. So for example, you can increase the vibrance, right? You can do that. You can go ahead and play around with the preserve luminance. You can go ahead and play around with the feather as well too. Sometimes the feather itself kind of takes away a little bit of the glow. So you can leave it like this. You can change it from 198 to 172. So it looks something like this. All right. If you're satisfied with this look, that's perfect. You can keep it like that. But if you're not satisfied, again, feel free to play around with the feather settings. Feel free to open this mask and increase the mask expansion a bit more. That way you can still retain a little bit of the red information, you know, play around with it to get the results that you're looking for. Okay, so for me, I like it the way it looks so far. I'll keep it like that, and I think that's fine with me. Now go ahead and hit Control S to save. Now for the glow layer, what I want you to do is hit Control D to duplicate it. And this time around, I'm going to delete the color vibrance from the glow number 2. I'm going to press enter and I'm going to rename this to heat distortion. Now guys, you guys don't necessarily have to add this, but I'm just going to add it because, again, this is called heat vision. So if it's heat vision, it's obviously heat that's coming from his eye. I'm going to make sure I come into the effects and presets tab and search up the heat distortion plugin from Video Copilot, and I'm going to just drop that onto it. I'm going to move this heat distortion plugin below everything, right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and double click M on the keyboard, and I'm going to increase the mask expansion a bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and increase the wind speed to like something like 4.4, and also the noise speed to something like 3.49, and then the distortion amount maybe to like 21. And if I press play, it looks something like this. But if I press F on the keyboard and I only focus on feathering, I can feather this out a bit more, so it looks something like this. Now it seems like the distortion amount is a bit too much, so I'm going to leave it at 15. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Maybe the mask expansion is a bit too much, so let me go ahead and double click M or triple click M, and I'm going to reduce the mask expansion to like 10, and let's have a look. Okay, that's more like it. Now if you guys did download the, what's the word, if you guys did download the Chromatic Aberration plugin, the quick Chromatic Aberration plugin, if you search up quick Chromatic Aberration plugin, you can go ahead and drag the quick Chromatic Aberration plugin into the heat distortion plugin as well too, and just change the position a little bit, move the position a little bit to the right, and change the value to 6.50. If you do that, you will start to see a little bit of some nice chromatic aberration right around the glow, if that makes sense. It's going to look something like this. So you see all this red and blue. It's really, really subtle. So let me go ahead and turn it off. If I turn it off, you guys don't see it, but if I turn it back on, you see it. See, I like to add little tiny details to make this look cool. Now this is obviously looking so good so far, right? We have added some heat distortion, we have added some laser eyes, we have added a bunch of other stuff. But let's do some animation to our subject's eye. So if you pay attention to the previous video, right, or what I personally did, the difference that you're seeing is I add this quick flash, this burst of light that shrinks. And then once it shrinks, it absorbs into our subject's eyes. So it's like there's a quick flash that quickly happens, and when it happens, it's like bah! It gets smaller, it sucks into his eye, and then the laser comes out. That's what we're gonna create. We're gonna make that. Let's do that. So we're gonna come back into our personal project. Let's come back over here. Let me go ahead and turn all this stuff off because you guys don't really know that. I mean, you guys don't have the opportunity to see that. So I'm going to hit Command S again, or Control S to save. I'm going to come all the way over here, and I'm going to grab the high quality flare layer. I'm going to stretch it out about 2 or 3 frames to the left, and I'm going to hit Control Shift D. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on this specific layer, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in. And what's going to happen is we're going to change the quality to full. We're going to go ahead and press S on the keyboard and set a keyframe on scale. And what we're going to do is we're going to increase the scale a bit, right? So increase the scale to something like this, right? Something like this. And what's going to happen is we're going to move about 1, 2, about maybe, matter of fact, let's stretch this out 1 more frame. Move this, what's it called? Keyframe a little bit to the right. And then over here, we're going to reduce the scale to something like this. Press P on the keyboard and set a keyframe on position. Move this position keyframe over here, and then just reposition it down here. So it's going to look something like this. Hold on. It's going to look like this. Pop, pop, poof. So it's like that. It's like a big flash and then eventually gets smaller. All right, perfect. We're going to click on that same high beam and hit Control D to duplicate it. And we're going to move this right around here. We're going to press S on the keyboard and press P on the keyboard. And then right over here at this specific keyframe, we're going to delete this keyframe. And we're going to move right here. And we're going to reposition this keyframe. Move this thing right around here. So it should look something like this. Right? So if we press play, it should look something like this. Perfect. Right? Boom. Boom. Right? Perfect. Hit Control S to save. Now, we're going to go ahead and select these two keyframes and select these two things, hit Control D to duplicate it, and then we're going to move that to the very end. And then we're going to move this time indicator right around here. And then what I want you to do is come over here at the very end itself, and we're going to repeat the same process. So drag these two and bring it on top of our practice footage. So it's going to look something like this. After the laser beam is done, I'm going to change the quality to quarter. It's going to get bigger like this, like that. Boom, boom, boom. Nice. Right? So we want that quick blast. Laser beam comes out, heat distortion comes out of his eye, and then boom, it goes away. Now, let's add some sound effects. We're going to go ahead and come over here into the composition itself and click on the quick blast laser eyes sound effects. Again, I customized this sound effect for you guys. So go ahead and drag that quick blast laser eyes sound effect itself and then drag that in here. And then double click L to review the waveforms and then reposition this right around here. And then what you're going to do is right around here where he completely stops, we're going to go ahead and click on this specific layer and hit Control Shift D. And we're going to go ahead and double click L and we're going to offset this right around here. So it's going to sound something like this. So it seems like this starts first. So we're going to have this, double click L, and then offset this right around here. So right here. Perfect. Now, say after the laser is done, and let's say you wanted this laser to go away faster, just make sure you click on the beam itself, press U on the keyboard, select these two keyframes, and move this closer, about 2 frames to the right. Come back over here to the bottom beam, press U on the keyboard, and select these 2 keyframes and move them closer. So it should look something like this. Right? That's one way to do it. All right? Hit Control S or Command S to save. Now, so far this is looking good. It's absolutely looking good. Now, if you guys come back to the laser comp project itself, I did provide some type of created this sort of like a bulge effect. Some type of bulge, effect. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click on the bulge itself and hit Control C to copy. So click on it, come to the effects and controls and hit Control C to copy that effect. And then let's come back over here and let's click on this glow itself, and we're going to stretch this out, and we're going to hit Control Command Shift D to split the layer, and then just drag this again, and then we're going to just drag this, and then in that specific layer we're going to delete the color vibrance, and we're going to go ahead and hit Control or Command V to paste the bulge effect in there. We're obviously going to go ahead and click on the center and de-enable center itself, or turn off the keyframe, and then move this time indicator right on top of your subject's eye, right around here. And what's going to happen is if you press U on the keyboard, we're going to stretch this out a bit, and we're going to place this on top of everything. So if you press play, I'm trying to see what happens. I figured out what the problem was. Go ahead and click on the mask itself and delete the mask. There we go. So it should look something like this. That's very interesting. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and decrease the bulge height back to 1. Decrease it to 1. Press play. and then just stretch this out a bit. And then select these two keyframes over here, hit Control C, come over here and hit Control V. And then come over here and stretch this out a bit. So the whole idea is you want to create this quick blast look. Like this. Offset this about 2 frames to the left. Make sure the keyframes align with yours. The same keyframes I have set up over here should be the same look you have aligned with yours. And then stretch this out just a bit. That's perfect. Yeah, I mean, guys, this is pretty much how you do it. If I'm being honest. This is honestly how you do it, guys. Yeah, it's really not that hard. I mean, after you're finished, what you can do again is you can go ahead and come all the way at the very bottom and select all your layers, right click, go to pre-compose, and then just change this to laser eye YouTube. Right? It's a really simple effect, right? That doesn't really require a lot of work. But like I said in my tutorial, I actually go in depth. So if you want to learn more secrets, you definitely want to buy that course. But this is a free basic tutorial. I try to make everything free as much as possible, but sometimes if you want the best quality, man, you can't be cheap, guys. So what's going to happen is after we've created this, we're going to add some camera shake. So let's do this. We're going to come all the way over here to the part where the laser beam comes out of his eye. We're going to go ahead and hit Control Shift D in this area, and we're going to come over here into the Effects and Presets tab and search up Motion Tile. Grab Motion Tile and just drag that in here. Click on Mirror Edges and then just increase the output height or the output width. As long as it's above 150, it's okay. Increase those 2 layers and search up Wiggle, Position. It's the same thing I always do for every single camera shake effect, and drag the position in here. Enable Motion Blur. And do me a favor and just increase the wiggle amount a bit and increase the wiggle speed and decrease the wiggle amount to something like this, and move about 1 or 2 frames and then enable keyframes and then move these 2, this time indicate all the way down here, and then decrease this to 0. So it should be something like this. So that's one way to add just a soft camera shake, right? Perfect. Again, feel free to play around with the color of the thing, and yeah, just play around with it. And then again, hit Control S to save so far, and then what I want you to do is just go ahead and if you wanted to add some color grade, my other tutorials I go in depth into that. I'll show you guys how to add some basic color grade and stuff like that with After Effects. Just come all the way over here, hit Control Alt Y to create a new adjustment layer, and you can apply LUTs. Like let's say if you have LUTs on your things, if you have free LUT is just basically color already customized color grade, and you can just apply it on top of your footage. But if you have no LUT, you can go ahead and search up Lumetri color, and they have their own customized LUT in here. So you add the Lumetri color, and then you come to creative, and then just go ahead and pick which one you like. So this one doesn't seem too bad, perfect. I'm gonna hit Control S to save, and then of course you can, again, feel free to play around. You don't have to use exactly that. You can use any of these color grades, and just pick which one that stands out to you, which one that really resonates well with what you're trying to do, and yeah, I mean, once you're done, you can go ahead and also add some noise. If you consistently see this black stuff, it's very simple. Just click on the footage itself, right click it, go to reveal and click on reveal in source project, and when you reveal in source project, click on the footage, right click it and click on reload footage, and that should solve the problem. Then come back into your final comp, and you can go ahead and add some noise as well too. Search up noise in the effects area, click and drag that in here, and just increase the values a bit, maybe like to 10, to add a bit of some cinematic noise to your footage, if that makes sense. So again, play around with it till you're satisfied, and once you're satisfied, that's pretty much it, guys. Just go ahead and click on File, Export, Add to Render Queue, and under H.264, just click on the practice video, and then just go ahead and save this somewhere into your folder. And then once you save it, click on Render, and that should be it. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something.